Hi, this is 365801 and this is going to be a 30 in 30 mini vlog. I say mini vlog, but actually this will probably be incredibly long because me talking about 30 different things, this is bound to be an incredibly long ass video. even if I try to make this really short. So the whole thing with 1330, I know, why am I just stroking this? I know Shae Geeks Out and is it Library of Tomes? There's a few other people, I'll link them all down below, that are doing some sprints and things during the month, just to try and get through their physical Manga TBR. And I have a lot. So I would like to try and see. Yes, this is going to be one of the busiest months of my life, maybe? Probably not. But I'm going to try and do this anyway at the same time. So yeah, I'm starting the month off with Birds of Shangri-La. This is a number 1. I have just finished it. Today is the 2nd of April, so I'm going to be moving on to my second read in a second. Birds of Shangri-La, I've been meaning to read for a while. I just picked up sometime last year. This is kind of like Ranma Rosaria, so it's an automatic buy, but I know that the second volume is out already and I don't have it yet. I really wanted to read this, but I kind of put off reading it because it is Ranma Rosaria and she doesn't shy away from things that might make me uncomfortable, and I know that this is set within a male brothel, and honestly just male brothel stories in general make me feel a little bit not bad, but just like there's an anxiety tension within me, because I know that there's going to be trauma or there's going to be something that makes me feel sad. And honestly, I don't read the BL for the sad. I don't read that for the sad. But Ranma Rosaria draws such beautiful characters in such smexy situations that I do read BL for the smexiness. But look how gorgeous that is. She's so gorgeous. She's so good. She's so good. So of course, it's an automatic buy, and I started reading it and I got, I don't know, like that much through. And already I was like, okay, cool. Sure. So some of my fears will be allayed. But by the end of the volume, I'm like, damn it, my fears are back. So we're following Phi, I'm guessing it's Phi, and Apollo, and they live on an island, and Apollo has come to start a new job as, basically it's a fluffer job, to fluff the prostitutes and get them ready for their clients and to look after them, and take care of all of their whims and needs. And Phi has been tasked with doing some training with Apollo, so Apollo will be ready to be a fluffer, a like prepper for any of the other birds on this island where this brothel is. But there's more things going on under the surface, which is always how it is, always. So Ranma Rosaria is very good at doing things where you're not entirely sure what's going to happen and what's going on, and that you suspect that there is a bigger plot at play than just what you're being shown, which I always love because it makes me want to buy the next volume right this second and read it. And I love the matte finish. It's just so beautiful. So I think Sublime did a good job with this because it just feels, this matte finish just feels more quality. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one for my first read number 1. Read number 2 will be quite shiny because it's still got its plastic on. Therapy Game Restart Volume 1 by Meguru Hinohara. This is also an automatic buy artist, mangaka. They're just so good, so beautiful. We're gonna have like the next section of Minato Shizuma's kind of life together. Their relationship is growing. I'm I think there's going to be more animal magic because of the vet stuff and photographs and shenanigans, and I have no idea, but I'm going to open it up and have a wee read. So this will be read number 2, and I'll check in with you when I finished it. And I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea, bit of therapy game, and one of these, it's an after 8 French fancy, which is like 2 things that are awesome combined to make something that is even more awesome. So I'll let you know how they both turn out. So it is the 5th now, and I have read some more for this 30 and 30. This was day 1's Birds of Shangri-La. This was day 2's Therapy Game Restart Volume 1 by Meguru Hinohara. And this one was more of Shizuma and Minato's relationship. I have to be careful about what I show, but gorgeous cover art and lovely insert art as well. Look at them, they're just gorgeous. I just love this. It's so interesting because when you love the characters, something so simple as a kiss becomes ooh, ooh. And there's something about Hinohara's work. It's beautiful, absolutely stunning. The characters are amusing, it's hilarious. I love this volume. I love how their relationship is starting to take on a much more obviously serious and maybe long-lasting sort of element. There's just, look at these. So cute! I love the chibi. I love the oh man, I just love everything about this. This is like made for me. The bit that I laughed so much, but there was a particular, I'll have to show it. When they're at the izakaya having their dinner. I need to find it. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Where is it? It's a lick. Just one lick. Just one. I mean, look at that. You could tell that he's snake-like in that kind of expression. Oh, it's so funny. So funny. So yeah, they're in the izakaya and he's like, hey, we're dating now. And then there's this little moment when they're holding their hands under the table and she spots them and then his face wiggling the hands like, yeah, get it, girl. Oh, it's just so funny. I love them so much. But there's also, and I need to find it as well, there's also something about the work that's so sensual and so, it's got so much sexual intimacy. I remember in Love is Like a Hurricane, there was not a lot in that series that I particularly loved, but there was one panel that had a lot of sexual intimacy, and this is what you get from. It's what you get from them. Like the way that his hair is tousled, the way that their eyes, one's closed, one's open, a wee peep of nipple. The fact that he's like holding his arms up, it's just like, oh, everything about it talks about passion and absolute attraction between these two. They just click, and oh, it makes me so jealous. Like, even though I'm like in real life, no one touched me, but in my soul, in my romantic soul, I'm like, oh, to have a relationship. I mean, oh, they're just so sexy, and the sex scenes are chef's kiss. And it's funny because after Birds of Shangri-La, which is about a brothel, so there's a lot of, you know, flesh on show, there's a lot of bodies on show, there's a lot of sexual acts on show. And Ranma Rosaria is 100% an amazing artist. She can draw the most sexy, sensual scenes. And yet, reading this one straight after, I would put this as a sexier, hotter, more sensual read. Like, it's got all the, I mean, it's got everything, because it's got laughs, and it's got plot, and it's got great characters. It's got everything, but it's also got great art. But it's also got that sexual intimacy and absolute level of peak hotness, because you know the characters and you know so much about them. Whereas with this volume 1, you're just getting to know the characters. So I think maybe with volume 2, it might be more of a sexy level, but this one, we've already gone through 2 full volumes. This is the 3rd volume. We've also got them appearing as side characters in, what is it, XXX Secret? Whatever it is. And so yeah, these 2 characters are just peak awesomeness. What else did I read? So the next one, day 3, I read, I mean, awesome. Look at these. Fantastic selection so far. I'm having a great reading month. Only the Flower Knows by Rihito Takurai. I got this just recently. This is volume 1. There is, I think, 2 or 3 volumes, and then the other one, 2 or 3 volumes. So I think there's like 4. Is it 4 volumes altogether? With the other story. And I hadn't read this in a while, and it was interesting watching G's manga haul for last month. She also purchased this, but she hadn't read it yet, and she was talking about how she had read it in scans. Like, yes, I did too. So I think I purchased it because it came out in, I checked on Goodreads, it was 2011 that the digital copy came, so I think I have the digital copy somewhere. Like, I purchased it, I know I did. Maybe I don't know. But the artwork is just, the story is exactly what I remember. It's exactly what I remember. It's beautiful, wonderful Rihito Takurai artwork. Also little comedy touches, lovely little touches. Oh, so cute. But it's just so nice to have something that you read back in the day in legal form in front of you. It's a bit like Carp on the Chopping Block. Very much like, I never thought I would ever get this in physical, legal print copy. Like, never thought this was going to happen, because so many of these amazing works were just passed over, and we got Gumph instead, and it was like, no, give us what we want. We want the wheat, not the chaff. And Junhei Manga gave us so much chaff, and this was like pure wheat. I do like that they have, I've mentioned this before, they got the symbol here and here, but they've not put the symbol on the front, which I think is an interesting way to go, but I'm also definitely happy about it, because look at that artwork, it's stunning. It does have beautiful cover, and I remember seeing this on a monthly manga magazine in a bookshop in Japan when I lived there. So it's like, oh, and I remember just going over to it, like, I saw it from across the room and walked right over to it and just stroked the front, going, pretty art, ooh, I want. Was it Riddle or one of those? But the story is about Misaki and Arikawa. This is Arikawa. He is like so many boys that I taught in Japan, because I taught in quite a high level school, so they were full of intelligent people, boys and girls, and so smart and kind of astute and able to do the work, and yet because they had a lot of confidence and they had a lot of safety and security in their life, they were able to allow an element of themselves to flourish. That doesn't mean that they didn't have anxieties or stresses, because they did, and Arikawa is the same, but they also were able to allow a part of themselves to just be free, and the oddity of that is something that Arikawa also has. So he has this sort of like, yeah, he's really smart and he's very capable, but he's a bit odd. And he also isn't 100% as confident as maybe other people think of him as. And so many of the students I taught were like that. Really smart, interesting people. Like one of them, for their summer holiday, he just got his bike out, just his normal mamachari type, bike. And he packed a bag, like a backpack, and he just turned around to his mum and his dad and was like, okay, so I've got some money in my pocket and I've got my train pass. I'll see you when I see you, probably in a week or two. Bye. He just got on his bike and just left on an adventure. That was his summer holiday. And it was like, I'm so jealous of the confidence and security and adventurous spirit of this person. Like, this person I know, I taught, and I think they're amazing and very interesting. And that's what Arikawa always makes me think of. The kind of person who would just be like, you know what, I think I want to go on a cycle holiday and see the world and just get on your bike and go. And that's what they did. And this reminds me of that person. Because Arikawa is such an interesting, smart, intelligent person. Misaki is too. The story follows Misaki and Arikawa, who are students at university. Misaki is in the botanist, into plants and things, agriculture department, and Arikawa is in the law department. So you wouldn't think that they'd get along terribly well or have any kind of real reason for interactions, and yet there is almost a sense of inevitability, which I like about this. Like, it's fated that they are to be together, which I think is quite interesting. It's so beautiful and lovely, and was a really good read for day 3. So what did I read for day 4? Obviously my other new release, also by June Manga, which also doesn't have its emblem on the front. So you can see, it's here on the back and on the side, but not on the front at all. So yeah, I won't flick through this one too much because, well, there's not too much on the smexy side, but there is violence and aggression and things like that. This is like the culmination of I don't know, a decade's worth of story, and it was like, oh, will it end here? And then it doesn't, and it's like a whole other arc of story starts, and you're like, but you only get that like the last page. So there's a point where you're like, oh. Anyway, I'll maybe show this last panel here. Flying birds never speak, and of course it's called Twittering Birds Never Fly. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, there's so many parallels with, what's gone on before in the previous volumes. There's so many beautiful artistic touches, but as well, it's just so heavy and emotional and and this was a really good way to end this arc of the story, this like part 1. It definitely felt like end of part 1, now part 2. And so I'm guessing that from volume 7 onwards, I think, I follow people on Twitter, so I know they're on like chapter 40 something. Is it 43, 44, 48? I don't know. But in this one, I was checking to see like what chapters they were, because at the different points. So I'm wondering what the last chapter was, because they're quite long. And here you go, chapter 35, and we're on 40 something. So it's like 10 more chapters at least have been released. So I know we'll get a volume 7, etc. These two guys, Domeki and Yashiro are like the OG, which is the same as, this as well as this. These are OG works. They're OG works that are like brilliant. So a lot of people like bash BL, but then there's certain BL works that you're just like, there is nothing you can critique. There's no way you can critique this and say negative things, because if you do, wow, boy, the world will come for you. the BL world will come for you. Like, this has a softness and a gentleness and sort of faraway, whimsical, sweet, loving, gentle aspect, and this is like the exact opposite, and yet they both were being produced around the same time, and both absolutely beloved. This is messy, and this is violent, and this is aggressive, and this is also sweet and loving and tender, and the kind of tenderness that burns, the kind of tenderness that aches, that hurts, because you're just like, oh, please just be okay. It was good, it was really good. I can't show you too much. There's a lot going on in this volume, and it's thick, and I really enjoyed it. It made me feel really good to get to this. I'm really glad I've got this copy. Add to my collection. Now it's the 5th today, so I finished off this morning, very briefly, A Polar Bear in Love, Volume 1 by Koromo. This is by Yen Press, and it follows Mr. Polar Bear and Lil Seal, and anyone who says this isn't BL, I think you're wrong. I mean, I'm like basically that meme. A Polar Bear in Love is BL. You know, convince me I'm wrong. That meme. I'm sitting at a desk with this sign because basically, I mean, look at this. Giant, dangerous, cute, cute little twink who is fearing for his life. It's basically a lot of Yakuza BL. I mean, it's not this Yakuza BL, but it's a lot of Yakuza BL. So, I mean, it's basically BL, right? So, here we go. They love at first sight. I was like, okay, cool. Look at it, it's so cute. It's so cute. That's what I really liked about it. But this first one, when he's like, he spots him, he's like, you're an angel, most beautiful thing. I will, protect you with my life. I'll make you I'll make you happy, and we have to get married. This is like dialogue from a BL. And then this, but I'm male too, 100% dialogue from a BL. This is BL dialogue. It can only be. And I'm like, I have read this exact same conversation. It's just a very large Yakuza man and a a scaredy twink. I mean, this is basically Mr. Tiger, Mr. Rabbit. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. And then I was like, definitely this is BL. And then the next one, when he's like, I'm male. And then he's like, I don't mind. I do. You're like, I have read this. 100%. It's that whole thing, like, maybe slightly effeminate looking little twink, and the guy's like, oh shit, he's male? Fucking my dick still works, it's fine. It's like, this is BL. This is a conversation that happens in BL. I'm just saying it. It's like, this is what it is. So yeah, nothing much happens with these guys. Lil Seal wants to get back to his mum. I have to say, Mr. Polar Bear's had pretty tragic upbringing. It's quite sad, actually. Lil Seal is just slowly being worn down by his affections. His mum is kind of a bit of what did she say? But I still haven't been taught how to get to swim. It's so funny. So funny. And she's just like, bye. And the seagull, it's just like nothing happens except I will protect him with my life. Okay. A ditzy mother. It was cute. It was sweet. They just had a bit of fun with this manga, and I liked it. It's nonsensical. And I do think I'm going to need to pick up the rest of the volumes. I think it's only a 4-volume series, and this is the only one I have. But I'm happy to have it because this is BL, but in, non-human form. Which, I'm not a furry, but that's never a good way to start a sentence. I'm not a furry, but but I can see that this is like a BL in a way. And it was a really fast, easy read. So, I mean, in terms of what I've read so far this month, it's the 5th today, so five volumes. I am going to try and see if I can do a volume a day. I have a few that I've purchased recently, so like I've got Koi Monogatari Volume 1 in print, and I do have the second volume on digital, so I could read those two. I also have Don't Call Me Daddy, and I've had that for like a year and I've not read it. And I can get Don't Call Me Dirty on Kindle Unlimited, so I might do that, because the whole point of this is so I can read some of my prints. So I don't want to go off and read lots of digital when I've got print things but then I also want to read my digital purchases too, so I might, mix in a few digital as well this month. But yeah, I'm glad that I've gone through some of the newer purchases. I am going to see if I can read one volume of manga a day for this month. It's tricky so far. So it is the 7th, and I have just finished reading both volumes 1 and 2 of Koi Monogatari. It was funny, there was a moment in here, I'm not sure if I can find it. I should probably find it before I started filming. But there was a moment when one of the characters was talking about why they liked the guy, and he said that it was because he overheard him talking with his team, it's like classmates, and they were like, oh, if we looked really good like girls, would it be like they fell in love with us and say, but you're a boy, I don't mind. And it was just like, yeah, this is just like exactly that. Here it is. But I'm a boy, I don't care, see? That, therefore, the polar bear story is a BL, and I stand by my first thought. This was really cute, this is really sweet. Volume 2 seems really long, so I think this is going to be a more chunky volume, and I'm going to have to buy it. But I also want volume 3 now, because this is obviously not finished. Arg. So yeah, Hasegawa has discovered that Yamato, Yuiji and Yamato, Yuiji has found out that Yamato is gay. And he doesn't really know very much about him, he's just a guy in his class. But because he has found out this thing about this person, he starts to be more aware of him and discovers that Yamato has maybe a crush on Yuichi's friend, Hongo? The cutie pie with the glasses, Megane-kun. And he starts to be more aware of Yamato, and then ends up kind of just becoming friends with him. And it's a sweet story, but it's also pretty hard hitting in some respects, because it's that moment of realization that someone has to start looking at their life not in terms of everyone else's normal stresses and worries as a high school teenager, what am I going to do with my life and all this kind of stuff. You have to start thinking about, what am I going to do with my life as a minority, and as someone who's going to be ostracized, or someone who's going to be discriminated against, that kind of thing. It's quite sad in that respect. It's a bit like I Hear the Sunspot, 7 Days. What else would it be like? A bit like Dokusei as well. There's a little bit of things in there, but it's definitely all on its own. It's definitely its own thing. And there's not actually that much love in the first 2 volumes. Because obviously these are the 2 main characters, and you're like, as a Fujo, you're like, I want them to get together. But also, I'm kind of like fine if they don't. Like, if that's what ends up happening, but that they're happy at the end. Like, I just want these boys to be happy. I don't need them to be together. I'm gonna have to revoke my Fujo card. but it was nice, and I'm really glad that I read this, and I'm really glad that I read the second volume, because I've had them digitally for months and I just haven't read them yet, so it does make me annoyed because I want volume 3, but apparently it's not out in Japan yet, so we'll have to wait and hope and pray that Tokyopop actually brings it over as a third volume as and when it's available. We shall see. I have to say, it is good quality. I do like it. There was no real issues or anything. So the people who did it, good job. So translator, Christine Dashiel. I've seen that name quite a lot. So yeah, they did a good job, I think, on the whole, with this. And I enjoyed reading them. So I'll see what I'm going to read next. I don't know, but I'm glad I'm making my way through my print collection as much as my digital. I do want to read as much print, especially single volumes or continued volumes, one-shots, things like that. So no long-running series. I want to kind of do as many of the little single volumes here and there as possible. So I'm glad I'm making my way through them. So yeah, Koi Monogatari. Nice. Lovely art. Nice story. Bittersweet. So far. So I'll check in with you later. So these were the next two that I read for my 30 and 30 for April. This is Don't Call Me Dirty and this is Don't Call Me Daddy. They're both by Goro Kanbei and Tokyopop. This one I got through Kindle Unlimited because I don't have a physical copy of it, and this one was gifted to me like a year ago, and because everyone said read this one first before you read this one, I didn't actually get around to reading it. But then when I noticed this was on Kindle Unlimited, I thought, oh, well, I can read it and then see if I actually want to purchase it. And I do think I want to purchase this one. I think I preferred Don't Call Me Dirty to Don't Call Me Daddy, although I did enjoy them both. This one is about Shoji and Hama. Hama is a homeless man, and I actually really liked the fact that there was the sort of representation of a homeless person in a manga that was kind of accurate, and it's quite sad actually, having lived in Japan, how homeless people are treated. Just the idea of being homeless is so shocking to a lot of Japanese people. I remember going to work and one of my work colleagues came in and he was all in a tizzy and he was like, you'll never guess. I came in to work from a different road this morning because I had a morning appointment, and I took the road across the bridge and I saw a homeless person, and I was like, yeah? And he was like, and I saw a homeless person, and that was the shocking thing, that he saw someone who was homeless. There's not, in terms of other cities, it's not quite so visible a lot of the time, and a lot of homeless people in Japan do live and congregate around rivers. If you've ever watched Arakawa Under the Bridge, or you've read, what is it, Keigo Higashino, what's his name? Suspect X, I think it was. You'll know that that's generally where homeless people will be, along rivers, because there's the large flood banks and it's kind of like public property. You can just go down and enjoy it, and it's there for recreation, socializing, exercise, that kind of thing. So good for wildlife, and it helps stop flooding happening. And that means that it's kind of like free land to go and be on. And so that's where a lot of homeless people end up, under bridges for shelter. And this is what was represented in this manga, and I actually really liked it because there is massive stigma about being homeless. And so even the fact that he saw a homeless person was shocking to my work colleague, but he was also kind of affronted. How dare that person be homeless, and homeless in front of him? Like, he was subjected to the view of this homeless man, and this was obviously the homeless man's fault. And I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, where is the empathy for this human being who has fallen on hard times, and with more and more with the way the world is, everyone is living on the poverty line. No one is, a hard bill, a difficult situation, a change in circumstance away from absolute poverty and homelessness. Like, there are so many people who are now, especially in this country, going to be in absolute dire straits financially. And then you've got other issues like mental health and substance abuse and abuse in the home, or, that kind of thing. And so there are so many different reasons why someone might be homeless, and the way that they're stigmatized, I thought was done quite well and quite accurately. All the police will obviously think he's the one. People complain about his smell and the dirt on him and things like that. And yet Shoji seems to see past that, and that was actually really nice, because not many Japanese people do. And so, yeah, it was accurate. It was kind of sad in that respect. So this was quite a bittersweet one. There was a lot of overcoming issues there. But the only way for him to be integrated into society is for him to no longer be homeless. And so it doesn't take away the stigma of the homelessness. And yeah, that's definitely a social issue in many places in the world, in the UK as well. Anyway, very nice one, very cute and sweet, but also with a lot of trauma to deal with. This one, this is about, is it Ryuji and Nanao? It was dead cute. I actually really, I wanted more of their interactions when Shoji, so that's the same character, was a wee baby. So Ryuji is the owner of the liquor store, and Shoji is his son, and he kind of ends up getting dumped on his doorstep, like, hey, you're the dad, it's your job, bye, and the mother just bounced. And his best friend who lived next door, who's training to be a lawyer, he's working as a lawyer, Nanao is his best friend and is full of gay pining for Ryuji. And I'm a sucker for gay pining, absolute sucker for gay pining. But there is this amazing, lovely family dynamic for only a brief spell, and then Nanao decides to leave because he can't handle not just what he is feeling for Ryuji, but also what influence he thinks he is having on Shoji, even though Shoji is just Shoji. So Nanao is dealing with a lot of internalized homophobia as well, and it's just sad. There's gay pining, internalized homophobia together. It's like, oh, crosses to bear. And poor Shoji is kind of left, he sees Nanao as a parental figure, and the thing is, they got on so well. And unfortunately, this little, kind of gay family dynamic got broken up, which is a shame, because I love a good family dynamic with gay dads. I love a gay dad. So I really enjoyed this one, and how it eventually got sort of dealt with when they're older. I'm totally cool with an old man romance. I quite like old man romances. And what I liked was also, which is another thing I really enjoy, Ryuji having his sort of bisexual awakening, if it is bisexual, I'm guessing. And I love a bit of bisexual awakening. I love a gay pining, bisexual awakening, great. But what I love even more in a bisexual awakening is when the person who's having that decides to go hardcore horny and is like all in, no pun intended there, but all in on the gay horniness. Like, oh, we're doing it this? Great. I'm loving it. So yeah, even though they're gay dads, they're still getting it on. Gay dad's getting it on at the end, which I thought was quite fun. Yeah, and Shoji just super cute. Little kids in BL. I just love little kids in BL. Love them. So it was nice to know that Shoji got his happily ever after, and so did Nanao, because generally not. But it took a while. It took a while. So yeah, these were the two that I read. I think I've got another Goro Kanbei that I can read. That's a digital one. I wanted to read my physicals, but I've got some digital, and so I might just end up reading that one. So yeah, I think that's my next read. So this is the next one that I read. It's the next Goro Kanbei work that I've got as a digital copy. Two peas in a pod. And that was really quick, really short little story. Man, I whizzed through this. Like, not much happened. It's just a wee high school romance, and so it's kind of cute. There's Nakata and Tanaka, and honestly, I'm getting the two confused. I think that's Nakata, and I think that's Tanaka. Yeah. Yes. Yes. There is a moment in this, I'm like, oh, which I enjoyed. It's basically these two boys in school who have similar names. Your kanji is like, the naka means inside or the middle, and ta is like field. So one has ta naka and one has naka ta as their last name. And so they're similar in that respect. So they have that kind of being the same. Anyway, they end up in the same class, and they end up getting to know each other through a little small interaction, and they end up finding out that they have so much in common. So they're like two peas in a pod. The two of them like the same things and do the same things, and they find that quite amusing. They end up making friends with a girl, and then there's elements of, which girl likes, which of the boys likes the girl, or which of the boys does the girl like, and what's going to happen. Then there's another introduction of another character, Futaba, who's like in the library, and so Nakata ends up befriending her as well. Things go slightly awry, and their friendship suffers a little until the end, and then it's a nice sweet ending. I really enjoyed it. It was lovely artwork. I quite like Goro Kanbei's artwork and art style. It's easy on the eye, and the way that this is just like a soft, gentle little high school romance story with a little bit of angst, but not too much. A little bit of heartbreak, not too much. But I did enjoy this. I thought Futaba was a fun and interesting character, especially when she said to, was it Naka-san? Whatever the girl was, she was just like, oh, it's really sore. She's like, well, just give up then, give up. It's like, she was like, these two guys are meant for each other, just give up, it's fine. I was like, oh, harsh. But also, yeah, I can see that. So, it was interesting. I really enjoyed it. I do recommend, but I wouldn't say like, try and get it if you're wanting the print edition, and certainly for me now, because I've got this digital, I would maybe go for the cheapest possible price, because it's not really one that I'm like, oh, this is worth paying full price for. Definitely go for a sale option on the print edition of this, because it's such a quick, short little story. You read it really fast, so you want value for money, don't you? And this felt like it was over in no time at all. I literally just raced through this. So yeah, on to the next. I wonder what I'll read tomorrow. So before I talk about the next title that I read for my 1330, I thought I would just open up this little package and show you what I got. I think I know what it is. It's the one thing that was late coming, so it couldn't be in my quarterly haul. So this will be in my next haul video. Yay! Volume 4 of Given! And it's in good nick. It looks lovely. Very nice. Lovely. Lovely. By Natsuki Kizu. This is Sublime. This now means that I've got 1 through 6, and I have not read a single volume. But it does now mean that I can read it, so maybe that should be a next, like, a monthly thing. Maybe I should do a buddy read with Katie. I wonder if she wants to do a Given buddy read. Yeah, I definitely need to read Given. It would be nice to to sit down and just do a whole blitz of the whole series. Maybe that should be next month. Anyway, happy to have that now added to my collection. So today's book was There Are Things I Can't Tell You by Edako Mofu Mofu. This is also Tokyo Pop that I managed to get for like probably 99p. Is it Kazumi and Kyosuke? I'm thinking, I mean, that's lovely artwork, lovely artwork. This is kind of depressing. kind of depressing. Yeah, Kazumi. Kazumi is the dark-haired one with glasses, and Kyosuke is the blonde-haired one. This is a story about internalized homophobia. Well, there's externalized homophobia as well, but internalized homophobia and what it will do to your relationship. If you have feelings for someone and don't actually want to act on them, and the other person also has feelings for you, and so if you're in love with each other and one of you is saying, no, I can't be gay, and that's kind of sad, especially if you're both in love with each other, and that it means, like, obviously there's going to be tension there within your friendship if you're actually in love with each other. These two boys have gone through a lot in terms of their childhood and what kind of influences they've had within their childhood that makes them think and feel a certain way, and then they become friends with, you know, in childhood, and then they grow up to be teenagers. One of them confesses, the other says no, they don't become friends, they like split up, then they meet each other when they're a bit older, and yet the internalized homophobia is still there, and it's like, try it, make it work, and it's not working. This was a little bit depressing, not gonna lie. So as much as I just said, you know, with like 2 peas in a pod, you know, it's a cute, sweet one. You can read it really fast. Maybe 3.5 stars, I would say. I would maybe bump it up to 4, put this one down, because it was kind of depressing. I mean, there was a bit of smexiness. There wasn't terribly much smexiness in the, like 2 peas in a pod is very light. Just like a cute little sweet kiss in a classroom. Very nice. But this one did get a little bit spicy. But can't say I was terribly like happy about the spice. I was like, oh, I'm still reeling from the emotions, the emotional slap around I've just had from this. So yeah, it was kind of depressing, a bit sad that people feel this way. So yeah, it left me feeling sad. I'm kind of sad about it. I know that's like I'm supposed to be happy, but I'm actually not. There was too much drama and angst in this for me to just let it go. Sometimes that happens. Like, I know that the story at the end, it's supposed to be a happy end. It's supposed to be like, wasn't that great? I'm like, no, actually, you put me through the ringer. I'm not happy about that. So yeah, anyway, There Are Things I Can't Tell You. I know a lot of people really liked it, but I was like, aw, shame. The stress. So I definitely need to read some physical titles tomorrow. I need some physical titles done. So I'm going to see what I've got. I actually might read Candy Colour Paradox Volume 4 and 5 because I have Volume 5 and I haven't read it. And I think a reread of Volume 4 will help me catch up with what's going on in the story. And then I don't need to reread the whole series, which I just don't want to do. So yeah, I think Candy Colour Paradox maybe next. For the next 2 reads for my 1330, I have read Candy Colour Paradox by Isaku Natsume. These are Sublime titles. I did a reread of Volume 4 to catch me up to generally what was going on. And then reading Volume 5, which I had not, and I just had to take the plastic off, which is always nice. This was published this time last year, so I've had it for a while, and I just haven't got around to reading it, because generally when I get a new volume, I would reread the previous volumes. And honestly, you don't need to do that. They're kind of just standalone. I don't actually think there was much of a... This one's got a nice colour insert as well. I really like the colour insert here, this one. With the the same image and then they've used it for the phone. I thought that was quite nicely done. It's so episodic that it was just like not really anything went from one to the next. There wasn't really any real like continuation of the story. So this story ended and a new one began. It is a nice one. I do like this story, I just didn't really like the translation choices in a couple of the earlier volumes. But I like Isaku Natsume, I like her art style, I like her characterization, I like how her stories are not really that much of a plot driven. They're much more just about vibes and the characters just vibing and living their lives. This one was good because at the end they had a little crossover with the characters from one of her other works, which I don't think is in any way what's it called? Hanakoi Tsurane, but that one's not been translated into English, but that's one of the characters. And so they were trying to tail them and see if they could get any kind of story on them, and then they got busted, and so Kaburagi kissed Onoe just to throw them off the trail. And that was really cute. So yeah, I mean, it's fun, it's nice, it's enjoyable. I like Isaku Natsume. These characters just seem like they're just getting on. It's quite dense and quite thick and heavy, and there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking, and the occasional little smexiness. They are making very slow progress with their relationship. They seem so much more together in volume 5 than they did obviously in volume 1, where they were rivals and they didn't get on, and now they're like practically living together like an old married couple. So it is kind of cute that in the space of these volumes they have made progress. So yeah, this was good. On to the next one. I don't know what I'm going to read next. Something in my drawers. I'll find something else to read. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to read next. So we just got back from doing a bit of thrifting, and I found Take a Hint, Danny Brown. I think this is the second book by Talia Hibbert. That is, yeah, Get a Life, Chloe Brown is the first one, and then there's the Danny Brown one, and then there's another one, that's the third one, that I think came out last year, everyone got really excited about. So quite happy to have this. So I got it for like 50p or £1 or something like that. So I heard that it's a good series. I'll maybe give this one a go. If you have read it, what do you think? And also, should I read the first one first and then read this one? I always like, if there's a series, I need to know, do I need to read it in order, or can I just jump on it? Talking about just jumping on in, I know I haven't got the second one of this yet. But it just looks so cute. I want to read it now, so I'm going to read this. Might take me a couple of days, but I'm going to see if I can read this. This is volume 1 of Check Please, Ngozi Ukazu. So I'm excited about this. Yeah, it just looks delightful, and I want to read it. So this is going to be my next read. So I have just finished Check Please, book 1, A Hockey by Ngozi Kazu. It's the 14th today, and this is the 14th, I think, 14th one I've read for my 1330. And I thought I was going to like it, and I loved it. It's so good. It's great, and it's also awful because it ended, and I need to get volume 2. I need to get volume 2 right now. It just ended on such a great moment, and I'm just like, yay! And then as soon as I realized, I was like, no, I need to get more. So I will have to try and see if I can get volume 2. I knew I was going to like this. I knew I was going to love it. Everyone said it's great, you're gonna love it, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna love it. So yeah, I need to get volume. Oh, Betty. Oh, I liked the art style. I like the development of the art style. You can see how it changes slightly and develops over time, which is obviously, as an artist, like I like seeing that in mangaka as well. I like seeing how there is a change or a shift or a development, or you know, the practice or trying to develop their art style, taking risks and things. And it was really fun. At the back they've got all these little extras as well as all of the tweets throughout the years. It's really cute. So cute. Oh, and it was really easy, and it really does make me think, like, yeah, the NHL hockey stories that I've been reading already, they're very, very much like this. So I'm just thinking, the fact that I've been chatting quite a lot, I might try and post this tomorrow actually. I think I'll just put this in the video and release like half the month. So I might be doing 2 parts. So this is probably the end of part 1. And I will do a second one, part 2, on everything else that I've read so far. So there's, technically it's the 15th tomorrow, so that would be the 15th book, whatever I choose to read. But I'll need some editing time, so I'll put this up. I'll put this video up with this, and then just read whatever from there, and that'll be the end of the month. Another video. This was great though. This is annoying. Now I need to get this. Him and Jack are so cute. So cute. So cute. It's just a really, really good story, and I want to read more. I need to read more. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this April's 1330 so far. So this is the first 14 books. Hopefully this video will not be too long. It's too long. We all know it's too long. What does anyone expect? It's probably like an hour long. Oh, fingers crossed it's not. Anyway, thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. If you want a little hockey stick or a hockey puck or something as an emoji, cheers. And if I should invest in the volume 2 straight away, I already know I'm going to. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. I'm 365801. 365801. Wow, I said that really fast so much. I didn't even know if that's what I'm actually called. And I make videos about male romance, BL manga, yaoi, and all this good stuff. Stay tuned for part 2 whenever that comes. Probably next month. Take care everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.